They say that it might be too complicated for the Eagles to franchise tag Nick Foles and trade him. Too complicated, huh? Talking about Howie Roseman here. He lives uncomplicated. He thrives uncomplicated. This is what he wants. Okay, maybe not. All right, well, we'll see what the Eagles are going to do. But if there's one guy who can make this happen, you know who it is. This is how we do it here in Philadelphia. All right, this is the salary cap shed show that I promised yesterday, so here it is. First thing to keep in mind, the projected salary cap total. Now, this is going to be huge to see what it's going to be in 2019. You know, the difference between even a couple $1 million could be the difference between cutting 3 players as opposed to 4. So we'll be talking about that temporarily. I got names down, numbers, nuggets, all that for you guys in a minute. So the projected salary cap, according to overthecap.com, which is a site I use. I either go to SpotRack or overthecap.com. SpotRack is projecting the salary cap to be $189 million. Over the cap, $190. Over the cap says the Eagles are about $15 million over right now, and they are dead last in the NFL in terms of, you know, being under the salary cap. Something not new here with Howie Roseman. He loves living on the edge, literally. He gets off on this shit. I'm telling you. All right. So let's look at some cap casualties here. First thing about Nick Foles and his contract, if you don't already know, mid-February, you know, the Eagles got to decide whether or not they want to pick up his $20 million option. Then Nick Foles has 5 days to decide whether or not he wants to get out of it and become a free agent. And the next thing the Eagles can do is franchise tag him. And if they franchise tag Nick Foles, that projected number is to be about $25 million. So if it's $25 million, you're looking at having to shed about $20 million in salary, somewhere along those lines. The first guy that I would cut immediately is Nelson Aguilar to shed some salary. He's got a $9.3 million cap number next year for his 5th-year option. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. He had a down year. Wasn't as good as last year. And the other part about this thing is Golden Tate. You might be able to sign Golden Tate like short term, maybe even cheaper on the annual value as well. I mean, $9.3 million, that's a lot of money for a slot guy. So Nelson Aguilar would be my first cut casualty for the salary cap, $9.3 million. The second one would be Jason Peters. Now, I don't know if this is something that the Eagles are going to do. And, you know, because Doug Peterson has this loyalty with some of his veterans. And, you know, I know Jason Peters is an automatic cut for a lot of people. I don't think it's an automatic cut for Doug Peterson. Are you really ready to move on from Jason Peters and put Big V in there? At left tackle? I mean, I guess you could sign a free agent. Jordan Mailata ain't ready to play left tackle yet. Not start. So that's an interesting decision that they're going to have to make if they want to go that route. But Jason Peters, if you release him, that's $8 million in savings. So with Nelson Aguilar and Jason Peters, $17.3 million saved. All right, third guy I got is Rodney McLeod. Rodney McLeod is a $9.8 million cap number for next year, but he's got a $4.8 million dead cap. So you'd only save $5 million if you release him. But this would get you to the $20 million total if you go this route. Jason Peters, Nelson Aguilar, and Rodney McLeod. So those are the 3 cap casualties. And if you do the math, it's about 22 million, 21 million, 22 million. So 9 million plus 8 million is 17 million plus 5, that's 22. Easy math there, Fedkiw. Way to go. Didn't even need a calculator. All right. So some other guys that could be cap casualties. If, you know,
the three guys that I mentioned aren't the ones that are cut. I do have some other names. Now, I don't think these other guys are as realistic as the ones that I mentioned. Now, Timmy Jernigan, we'll see about him. So the thing about his contract is his last 3 years of his deal are now all options because of, the accident that he suffered last offseason. So that was, kind of a way to rework that contract. I don't think Timmy Jernigan is going to get cut. I think what's going to happen with him ultimately is they're going to rework that contract because $13 million cap number for this coming year, that's a lot of money. And, obviously didn't play a lot this year because of the injury that he suffered. So we'll see about that. You would only save $6 million if you cut him in a $7 million dead cap. So I don't think this is going to be a move that they would make. But in terms of a restructure, I can definitely see that. Chris Long is another name. You'd save $5.3 million if you cut him. And actually you would save $5.6 million if he retired because there's no dead cap if he retires. I would be inclined to bring Chris Long back because of if Brandon Graham leaves, get that other, just another pass rusher out there. I mean, I would be inclined to keep him. So I would let him stick around. I've got another couple names for you. Nigel Bradham is one, but I don't see how that would be one. So $9 million cap hit for him for the season, but he has a $4 million dead cap, so you'd only save $5 million by releasing him. You just signed him last year, and you got Jordan Hicks as a free agent. I don't think they're going to re-sign him, so I don't see why they would cut Nigel Bradham. That just doesn't make sense. Michael Bennett, you would save $7 million, but, I mean, come on, that's self-explanatory. I don't think we want to cut Michael Bennett after what he just did, leading the team in sacks. Stefan Wisniewski is $3.7 million cap hit. You'd save $3 million by releasing him. Now, this was a move that maybe they would do, but because of Brandon Brooks' injury now, his Achilles tear, they're going to need a right guard to start the season. Maybe. We'll see if Brandon Brooks is ready, but I think all of a sudden having Stefan Wisniewski back for next year, it became a little bit more important because of the Brooks injury that he suffered in that divisional playoff game. So there you go. Those are some names and, all that good stuff. So we'll see what the Eagles wind up doing. You had the report from the other day about the radio host in Denver that people got all riled up about. It's like people already forget that in early January, Ian Rappaport reported that the Eagles were going to try and explore franchise tagging and trading Nick Foles. So hold on. Let me see if I can find that clip real quick, actually. Let's see if I can do it. All right. So this is Ian Rappaport. This is on January 6th. This is before the Bears playoff game. Ian Rappaport from NFL Network.
He is now the upgrade to Sammy Watkins over there.
I don't know where that other volume's coming from.
The discussion here, Mike, is how they're actually going to second NFL title, their second Super Bowl.
All right, I got noises coming from everywhere. All right, forget it. Sorry about that. But anyway, all right, I'll just read what Ian Rappaport said if I can find it. Okay, so Ian Rappaport on January 6th. He said, do they franchise tag him about $25 million, or do they pick up his option and watch Nick Foles buy back his option and franchise tag him? Either way, what remains to be seen is how the Eagles actually move on. But my understanding, talking to several general managers around the league, the belief is that the Eagles will, in fact, be able to trade Nick Foles again. So there you go. And in terms of, compensation, actually, you know what? I'll make this video. I'll make that video tomorrow because it's you can get something for Nick Foles this year, unlike last year. And I think there's more options that you can have. And we even know about the report that the Eagles were offered the number 35 pick for Nick Foles. So we know there's a market out there, and we know that you can get more than a third-round pick, which is what the compensatory route would be. But if I'm going franchise tag and trading Nick Foles, I am going bold. I am going very bold. I'm not talking Nick Foles for Leonard Fournette. Okay? I'm going bolder. There's been reports about a certain cornerback being a little disgruntled in Jacksonville. If it were me, if I were Howie Roseman, if I wanted to go bold, Nick Foles, a first, and maybe if you want to toss him like a fourth, for Jalen Ramsey. That's what I want. Leonard Fournette? Nah. Give me the best cornerback in the league. Make it happen. That's, if Howie Roseman somehow pulls off, something crazy like that, that's how you do it. And this is how we do it on the Bitter Birds. Adrian Fedkiw, I'm out. See ya.